Well, it looks like it is exactly time to start our real estate training by davidknox.com. First Monday Administrator and Manager webinar, Monday, August 3rd, 31, 2015. Thank you so much for joining me today. Let me just give you an overview of what we're going to do today. First of all, our next webinar will be Monday, October 5th, 2015. This one, today's, is actually for September. I'm going to talk about our September videos, our guest presenter, Dan Washington, and a new feature that we're working on. We're trying to come up with a cool name for it, AAA, Agent Achievement and Accountability. And by the way, this webinar is, I'm really hoping to get input from you. I know how interactive webinars could be not, but I really need your input. We're going to design a feature for you that will be very, very helpful, but I need your guidance. By the way, I first would like to just mourn the passing of a great mentor, Wayne Dyer. I'm sure anybody on this call knows Wayne Dyer. This was taken back in '94. I was standing at a telephone booth in a hotel in Maui, and I was in charge of the instructor development session, and we didn't have a speaker, and I looked to the right and I said, my gosh, that's Wayne Dyer. And I introduced myself and I said, Dr. Dyer, I'm David Knox. We're having some people here that, some CRS instructors, and we need a speaker. And I said, would you like to speak to this group? And he says, you know, that sounds good. Call Maya in Miami, his assistant. And the next day, Wayne was there, and he spoke to all of us CRS instructors. So just very, very sad to hear that he died yesterday. He's been a great mentor to a lot of people. And unfortunately, I think I've lost a lot of mentors. You know, Dave Stone, Lou Tice, we could go down the list. Most of you, or all of you, should have received this email that we send out every month at the beginning, which is kind of the what's new for the current month. And the purpose for this email is that you forward it to your agents and or your managers. I will remind you again, we do not email your agents at all. We only email administrators and managers, so we hope that you're going to be in charge of forwarding it as a broadcast email. Again, I want to remind you that you can Skype or webinar me into one of your meetings. I'll cover that again. So let's go through the videos. It was about, I think, 2 weeks ago, Amy from Steinborn and so she called me and said, hey, David, we're looking for some videos that take agents, you know, from the contract to closing. Do you have any? And I looked in there and went, you know, we don't. We do have one video on communicating with sellers. We don't have one specifically for that. That's great. So we built one. In fact, it was one of Amy's agents, Terry Camacho, who helped me. So KFT 90 fills a hole that we've never had, and that deals with that kind of the last impression of, you know, now you got to sign paper, how do you get to closing? And then I use the analogy that no matter how good your flight is on an airline, we typically judge it by the landing. So that's what KFT 90 is for. Quick tip 11, friend in the business. You know, I've heard a lot of people say, gosh, my sellers say they've got a friend in the business, and do you have any answers for that? And yes, I do. So we've got a quick tip. And of course, my first question is, you know, if they've got a friend of the business, then why are they talking to you? There must be some reason they want a comparison. Find out what it is. We've already had some great feedback from some people. Quick tip number 12, the most mispronounced, misused word in an industry term. This should have been the first quick tip. It should have been the first video I ever did because 20% of the people I hear mispronounce and say, yeah, I'm a realtor. When I call companies, they'll say, yeah, this is ABC Realty or Relator, and it's so annoying. So I think it's about time we pronounce what we do. I realize those for you, Dan, I'm in Australia and things like that. It's probably not an issue for you and adding other countries. So, by the way, here's some feedback that I got this morning. Let's see. I want you to take a look at the KFT 80 right in the center. This is a brand new agent, and she took a look at our safety video, and, you know, we've lost another one recently. So when I read her feedback, I just want to remind you that agent safety is a huge issue today. We know it, and I also want you to know we have a video, KFT 80, Agent Safety. And a lot of the content came from NAR and some other experts. So please, 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 especially your new agents, make sure they see that. And as I mentioned before, you can bring me into your meetings live through Skype or Facebook. And we've just had some great response to that. I would like to announce a new feature that I just found out about this morning. Now, we've been working on it for a long time, but Stanislav Ladonenko, our wonderful programmer, said that we are ready to field test a new feature. And the feature allows our subscribers and members to upload their own video or have us personalize a video. So if you have a video that's very unique to your company and you think, oh, I wish I could get it in RET, that is the new feature. We've got to field test it. If anybody has a video, let us know. We'll work with you and try to get it uploaded. We're doing some custom videos for some of our members, and I just think it's going to be a great addition to this. But what will happen is the video will appear only in your curriculum, and you can include it, you can name it what you want, and I just think it's going to be a great feature. And just so you know, technical stuff like this, there's always, that just goes to show you, there's always something that we got to work out. But I'm excited about the feature in terms of having us create a video for you. If there's, obviously, you know, if we're building a video specifically for you, there'd be a fee for that. But in terms of just uploading a video, right now it's free. Now, what I'd like to do is introduce Dan Washington. I think many of you out there know Dan. He's with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services out in the Carolinas, and he's been a member for, I think he was one of the first members, because the owner of his company, Tommy Camp, was one of the guys who said he was really interested in this online training, and he joined. He was one of my first members. Dan has been using this product for a long time, and he's built it into his own training program. And in fact, Dan, rather than me tell our members about your call, why don't you tell them about your telephone call to me and what you were looking for?
Absolutely. Thank you, David, and hello, everybody. We have our own training documentation, our own training plan called the Pathways to Success, and we really think it's great. It's a 10-week training program. We have our own trainer who does a 2-week, 5-day training class with our new agents. And in talking with our recruiter over the past couple months, you know, we always talk about why we lose people and why they went to our competitors, and we kind of started to see a common theme of training being something that people saw as a value in some of these other firms, and it just really made us scratch our head, because we really feel like we have some pretty good training. We have a tremendous trainer who does really good hands-on training, and then we have this 10-week, you know, notebook with a real good path to get them getting productive, and we just would scratch our head to not understand why anybody wouldn't think this was good, and what other people could be doing that would be perceived as better. So the Pathways program, it's broken down into 10 modules, things like sphere of influence, open house, expired listings for sale by owners, things like that, and each one of them toward the end have some action items that the new agent must do, and some of those include going to watch David's videos on those particular topics, as well as specific items like, if it were the open house chapter, you know, go hold an open house. And then at the end of it is feedback, you know, what did you learn? Tell me about it. So what became pretty apparent after really getting with our trainer and getting with some of our managers about, you know, why our training was being not perceived as really good out there, is it was pretty obvious that our managers were just not being consistent at following through and doing the Pathways program. It's supposed to be an hour a week on each chapter, get all the new agents together, cover that chapter, move on to the next week. And so we've done a couple things, you know, since then, and really, you know, I called David to say, you know, I know that I can log into David's system and determine if someone's watched a video or even logged in, which should be kind of a, you know, a signal to me that they are doing this or they're not doing it. But I wanted to take it a step further and figure out how could we throw our whole platform into David's system so that I really do have an accountability system to know if someone actually read the chapter, if they actually logged in and typed their notes about what they learned. So we've done two things since kind of really realizing that in order for this to be as impactful as possible, we got to make sure our managers are doing this every week. We got to make sure that the new agents are actually going through this and being held accountable as well. So the two things we've done, the first thing we've done is we've worked with our trainer and our support team, our IT team, to say, every time a new agent comes on board, I'm going to have the trainer kind of become more of a developmental coach as well and really hold their hand for 12 weeks. So I want them to not only welcome them in an email and say, hey, you're about to embark on a wonderful 12 weeks and you're going to learn a lot, but I want him copying the manager to really put them on the spot to say, you are going to be doing this program every week. And then every week for 12 weeks, I want the trainer reaching out to that new recruit to say, how was chapter 2? What did you learn? Tell me about David's videos. What did you do this week? And copying the manager as well. So I feel like it's going to add an accountability level to our managers as well as to those agents. And so David and I have been talking the last couple of weeks to figure out how I can take these chapters and put them online so that literally an agent can log in from any device. They don't need this big, large notebook that costs me a lot of money as well to produce, and really have an accountability system to say they actually did do it. I can see their notes. I know which videos they actually watched or didn't watch. We participate in a thing called integrity coaching, which really allows the managers and the agents to sit down and talk about just what their goals are, how to achieve them, and using this coaching program to be able to log in the day before as a manager and look to see if the agent actually logged in last week and did that chapter and watched those videos. It'll make it a lot more of an accountability factor, because now they know before that coaching session ever started if that agent actually logged in and did that chapter and what did they look at and if they typed any notes. And so it allows the manager to properly prepare for that coaching session as well. But for me, it really does put a lot of accountability on the fact that managers are using the system and these agents are actually going through and using these systems every single week as well, because we are convinced that if they really did all of this for 12 weeks with all these topics and with our great trainer, that they absolutely will be more productive at our firm than any other firm. And so David and I are working on that, and hopefully we'll kind of get together and see a little bit of a test database soon to just start putting our heads together if this is going to work or the right direction we're going. But I just immediately thought of David because I know that we can see what videos are being watched right away, but I figured it might be an opportunity to enhance that platform to make it more broker specific if you have something tailored like we do. So we're hoping that will work.
Dan, thank you for that overview. The next slide that I have up there is just one of those first images of how I might see it done, and I believe, Dan, you looked at this, and what I see happening is you log in and look at a certain agent's portal, and you can see which videos that they watch, and you could add a new video to their list, or they could add their own and show a date when it was watched. Then we thought there would be tasks. So week 1 for a new agent, obviously headshot, business cards. These are the kinds of lists that we would build, and go to GoDaddy and reserveyourname.com, whatever. So there would be tasks in there, and when the agent completed it, they would just type in the date. So a manager goes in and goes, hey, it looks like you haven't done this, or you've done that. That's great. And then additional activities, and I think this is something I should explain that. The additional activities are things that I thought the agent could create. So there'd be a button down there that says add new activity, and say, I held my first open house, had 15 people, I did this, I did that. Or maybe they could type in, I was with a seller today, it sounded good, but then she said she had a friend in the business and I absolutely didn't know what to do. So it'd be kind of an interactive device, so you could log in and see how they're doing. What I'm going to show you now is basically a summary of the text that I sent to our programmer. And as you all are watching this, I'm really looking forward to your feedback on this. This is a great opportunity for you all to have us build an accountability platform for you. But the way I saw this happening is that I, David Knox Productions, would create a master template in RET. And all the stuff that you guys send me, say, hey, I want in it, we'd come up with a 10 or 12 week plan, and I would build it with everything I know about new agents and videos, and we would create that as a template. And then when you guys log in, there'd be a section for you to access it. And then what you would do is go in and take a look at this new agent plan and go, yep, I'm going to clone this. So you would clone it, do a save as, put your name, your company logo, and it would be, your company new agent program, call it whatever you want. And having done that, you could go in and modify it. So you could say, well, I don't like them, I don't want this video, but I want this, I want that, I want this. So you could go ahead and, I'm trying to have almost like a kind of a Word doc where we have a template and then you can make changes. And then what would happen is, and we're still trying to figure this out, but as a manager, I'd tell the agent to log in and access this new agent track or whatever you call it. I'm trying to figure out whether a manager should assign it or whether the it should always be in there. I think, Dan, you kind of like the idea of going in and assigning it. Is that right?
I do, because I feel like it just kind of kicks off the process, and it immediately puts some timing and accountability onto the system that, hey, you've started, let's get going, kind of thing. I feel like if you leave it up to the agent, then you're gonna that's gonna be probably delayed a little bit. So
yeah, in fact, I'm going to write down. I just thought of something. If you, I'm going to say if manager assigns, then agent gets email. Would you like that?
I think that would be great. Yep.
The only challenge is when we start emailing out of our system, they're gray listed, and we had more horror stories when we start emailing, so we'll have to think about that. Okay, so then you would assign it to an agent and assume they get notified either by email or something. And so this next paragraph, I guess we ignore because you assigned it. So the agents they'd log in, and every time they watched a video, that thing would update, and they'd be assigned to go into this portal, whatever we call it, and they start writing notes and enter completion dates, knowing full well that the manager, is watching that. And so the activities list have an add button so they can enter prospecting activities, dates of completion. I thought about the idea of having a prospecting scorecard for mailings, calls, and appointments. That might come later. And so the manager follow-up, the manager should be able to go to their users, have a button, a track or something that they can click on the track and go, well, let's see how Bill's doing today, and then scroll through things like that. And so they should be able to see the progress of the agent. For reporting, I'm still working on that. I think Dan said it would be great if the manager received some kind of report. Maybe the manager logs in and sets up a report. Notify me every Monday or every Tuesday of all the activities. So that maybe there's a list of all activities sorted by name, something like that. As I'm thinking about this, I just know that emailing could be the weakness, because emailing would come out of Infusionsoft, which is our back-end deal, and Infusionsoft, unfortunately, has been abused by a lot of people, including me accidentally, and sometimes those emails get blocked. Just stop here. I just don't know how this is going to work on a webinar, but I wanted you all to see what we're thinking of doing and building, and I need your input, because I'm going to write up a more detailed plan and give it to our program and say, this is what they want. So maybe the first thing, if somebody wants to answer verbally, I'm going to, hey, Amy, can you hear me? Amy Fennell, can you hear me? I can hear you, Amy. I can hear you.
Hey, Dave.
Hi, Amy. I unmuted you, and I just thought, I know that since you run a big training program, I might just ask you for input on this.
Oh, sure. We actually have developed a similar 10-week, 12-week program where we have kind of like each week focuses on a topic, and then we have a variety of tasks that the agents have to go back and do. So I think being able to have this feature tie in with some of the videos that you have would be great. And, what I like about that is being able to actually go in and see whether or not that new agent actually viewed the actual video or not. Because the way the platform has its metrics and the way you can look at it. So I think that's a great little feature of how you do that.
All right. Well, then what I would ask of you and others with a program like that is, as we get further in this, you're welcome to send me an outline of your whole training and of the task and things like that, and I'll build a master template. What I'd like to do is build a master template that is 95% of what everybody would want. I did when I was National Training Director for Merrill Lynch Realty back in '83. I sat down at a meeting with 33 training directors, and I just said, do you want to have 33 programs or one? And of course, this is within a company, but they said, we'd like to have one good one. So we all agreed, we worked together, we came up with a training program that I think was 95% used. I mean, let's face it, 95% of what agents have to do is true everywhere. Every single agent needs to get a photo. They all need business cards. So So I'll ask for that. So thanks, Amy.
Yeah, and one of the things that we did was, we needed a new agent program, but we also wanted something for our experienced agents. And I'm sure most of you have come across this where, the experienced agents don't want to go through a new agent training because they feel like they've gotten beyond those skills or some of those tasks. So what we actually did was we created kind of in that custom curriculum portion that you have, we created a similar 10 weeks based on those same things that we wanted, and we just dropped a lot of those videos in those weeks. And we've kind of been pointing some of our experienced agents to go on that track. So, we have a new agent book that they actually go and do, and then we have an experienced agent program that's housed right in your training videos, David.
Oh, great. Well, if this track works, obviously, I think all of you can see right away, I could clone that and then do an experienced agent track, and as we got further, we could have like a out of the slump track. I wouldn't call it that, but something like recharge, refire, something. And I'm just sure everybody's going to want to rename it their own name, so we'll try to keep that flexible. So thanks, Amy. I see Don on the line. Don Bereiter. Let's see. Don, can you hear me?
I can hear you, David.
Hey, Don. Do you mind responding to what we're doing here? And
call me out, do you?
Yeah, and I realize I just called you out of the blue. So.
No, I respect Dan. I wanted to hear his his plans and your plans that put something together so it'll help me with the new agent training. We have a new agent training where we do a 2-week deal with different managers. We don't have a full-time trainer, but I love the idea of being able to. I want to be able to track them. The accountability part really piques my interest, and I want to have be able to say, okay, you have done this, so to know where my agents are at and where they're at in the training process.
Okay.
To add my comments to it, I don't know what else I would add to it other than like Amy was saying, you have the new agents that have theirs, and then maybe a secondary will be for the more experienced. So we're not teaching them to go get a photo and do all the little things basically they've already done, but maybe the next level.
Oh yeah, for sure. This would be very, very basic. And in fact, the first video would probably be how to pronounce realtor. And I think the second would be agents. No, I think I would do agent safety first to make the point that this business begins with safety. Then I'd do how to pronounce a realtor, and then move through that. And the idea would be that when you clone this thing, you could go make it your own. So thanks, Don. I'm going to.
You bet. Thanks, David.
I'm going to mute you and then check with Julie. Hey, Julie, can you hear me? Julie Giles, are you there? Let's see, I think she just typed a question. Okay, I can't hear Julie. Perhaps if you guys would type into the questions area any comments or questions, suggestions. Like I say, webinar is the hardest way to do a two-way meeting.
David, can I say something real quick?
Yes, please do, Dan.
Yeah, I think for us, I think the biggest reasoning for wanting to get this in place is not necessarily the accountability piece for the agent. It really is the kind of the revelation that for a company that has a lot of different branches and a lot of different managers, we want to make sure that our training process is being followed consistently throughout all of our branches, and we really try to put some accountability on our managers to say, are you following through and doing this? Because if they are, then we really do feel good about the training we have. But if we just have a book that sits on a shelf and it never gets implemented every week like it's supposed to, then it is easy to see why a recruit would go somewhere else because they feel like we don't have a good training program. So a lot of it is more from the broker and the BIC standpoint to say, I want to make sure that you're doing what is asked of you every week to implement this. And I think with that comes the fact that obviously the agents are logging in and doing what they need to be doing as well. But we've always been, I guess wrongly under the impression that we have all this great training stuff and our managers are doing what they need to be doing to implement it, and that just doesn't seem to be happening as consistently as we we would like it to be, and we feel like this really will correct that behavior. So.
Okay. Oh, I just got a note from Julie. Doesn't have audio. Well, Dan, you hit on something. You know, a lot of times I find myself saying, "Come on, managers, you're the fulcrum of the real estate business. It's really up to you to happen." And I always stop myself and go, you know, I think managers have the most difficult job in this industry, and they're doctoring and telephone calls, and there's so many administrative things that just bury these poor managers. So for you managers listening, I really do have compassion for the difficulty of your job. But I also really believe that the job of a manager is to manage and lead, and if the managers support it, it works. If they don't, it doesn't. And I know everybody listening knows that, and I just have said this for year after year after year. The company who can get their managers to manage and lead is the companies that are going to win. I've always said if I ever wrote a book on management, it would be how do I get my agents to, and then fill in the blank. I mean, that is a universal question of any manager or leaders. How do you get anybody to do anything? So, so I just got notes for Julie. Let's see, is there anybody else that has a comment? I can unmute you. You can type into the question area. I'm just going to go down the list and see who has one. Stephanie, let's. Hey, Stephanie, can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
Hi, Stephanie. I can hear you. Go ahead.
Well, as one of those managers that you're referring to, I really like the idea of having the training module online, because it will be something that I can look at if it's, 10 o'clock at night or 8 in the morning or whatever, to know what my agents are doing. And that way I don't have to rely on them bringing back their hard copy binder and reviewing those things with them, and I can catch problems earlier if it's online as well.
Perfect. Well, I thank you for your input on this, Stephanie. And yeah, what I'm really going to be looking for is, kind of all of your wish list, in terms of, what you'd want them to do. I don't know whether I'm going to do week 1 through 12. I might let you modify that. I was thinking of like a 12-step program, like AA. Here are the 12 steps of being a successful realtor, and beginning with safety, proper pronunciation, and then move through. And I know, Dan, you might start at step 6 because that's what all your managers are doing, but that's up to all of you. So I would be interested in what steps you might title them, what tasks, what activities, the videos. I'm obviously the one who can help you with all of those. So Julie said, you like my comments about being a leader versus a manager. Thanks. Stephanie, anything else you want to add to that before I mute you?
No, I think it's a really good idea, and I'd like to incorporate it. I'm going to run it by our education group as well, because we do have a very well-developed training plan, but it's hard copy. So having it online, I think, would be a great benefit.
Yeah. Well, and by the way, the training plan, and in fact, what started this off is Dan has an amazing 3-ring binder. I think it weighs 6 pounds, and it's tabbed, and it's beautiful, and it's organized. And I think, Dan, you said it was $75 per print, and it started off, gosh, I just wish I had the whole thing online. And I think what I'll probably do is, and that's another thing I'll work with you, Dan, maybe uploading all that stuff online is actually not that difficult. So maybe it'll be just like the video feature. Maybe we have some online thing where we can upload it. And I've got to be careful what I promise, because my programmer says, we cannot do this. This is crazy. We cannot. Actually, he always says, you tell me feature, we make it work it. Let's see. So I've talked to Julie. I've talked to Stephanie. Anybody else? I don't want to drag this out any longer than I need to for you guys. Let me see if I had another slide to go through. Well, I certainly want to thank you, Dan, for being involved in this. I thank all of you for being members of Real Estate Training by DavidKnox.com. And I look forward to hearing from you. I'm David at DavidKnox.com. And let me just type my, there's my cell, there's my email, send all. And by the way, I want to remind all of you that Pricing Your Home to Sell and Preparing Your Home to Sell, our consumer DVDs, are updated this year. They're available for online delivery. In fact, we're just updating Selling My Owner. We shot that a couple of weeks ago. That'll be uploaded. And we have the online version. And some of you listening today also subscribe to the company version of this, which gets down as low as, instead of $20 an agent, it gets down to 10, and depending on how high you go. But I think finally people are realizing that you cannot, and a lot of people don't even have DVD players. So our online videos have been, we've had them actually for 5 years, and now people are finally starting to sign up agents, $20 a month, unlimited sending. We have all of our videos, and we also, so this is what it looks like if you want to do the web, add to that the ability to display on your website. And this is the price list for company members. So for those of you, let's pick somebody, you got, I don't know, 25 agents. It's $175 a month for unlimited sending. You as the company get the showcase, and I recommend that in this case, every agent who wants to be a member gives you a $100 bill, and they pay ahead of time per year. I don't think you should pay for it. I think the agent should pay. And Richard, what did you say? We love the online videos for our agents. Thank you. I'm going to try to find you in our list, and I'm going to unmute you. Hey, Richard, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, hey, Richard. Tell me about the online videos.
Can you hear when I'm talking?
Yeah, maybe get a little bit closer to your mic.
Hold on, let me close the door here real quick.
I'm sorry, say again? Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I certainly incorporated in all my training with all my agents. We've got access. All of our agents have access to the videos. So we incorporate that in all of our training, and they're much better than the other videos out there, David, because they're just more interesting, they're more engaging, and I think they're real pertinent to what the agents need at this particular time.
Well, great. Now you're talking about the consumer videos, not the training videos, right?
Well, I'm talking about they're agent-centric videos is what we are, where they go online and are able to listen to listing presentations.
Okay. I may have confused you, Richard. I was talking about the online consumer videos where you can email pricing home to sell.
Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize for you.
No, that's okay. I can't tell you how we've got 2 video services, and it does get confusing. But I really appreciate your comments on the video, so I will mute you. So anyway, I just wanted you to know about those programs, and feel free to call me. I'm just going to scroll down my list and see if anybody else has any questions. Patterson Schwartz loves you too. Thanks, Julie. I appreciate your support. Well, anyway, to all of you, you know how much I appreciate your membership. We work hard to build good videos, build good features, and continue to make this better. I think, we add videos every month, so it gets more and more valuable to you. So we look forward to your input on this training feature. And I really think this fall is going to be a good fall, and I want to be there to help you with anything you're doing. I see, hey, Mike, how are you doing? I just thought I'd say hello to you. Are you there? Can you hear me? Mike may not have audio. Okay, turn that off. So anyway, I'm looking forward to building this feature. Our programmer says it is very complex. So, but that doesn't mean he can't do it. It'll just maybe take him longer. I've learned over the years never, ever, ever promise a date on a technical issue, so I'm not going to promise that, but I will promise we are starting. Anything you want to submit, we'll build it into it. So please call me, email me if you've got any questions or comments. I always leave, a couple hours after these webinars so I can chat with our members. So thank you very much. And Mike, I'd love to chat with you and see what you guys decided on both of your regions. And thank you all very much for your business. Have a good rest of your day.